Found out my daughter isn't mine. I won't tell a soul and continue raising her like her dad. My wife and I had been trying for a baby for the better part of 3.5 years. Our age plays as we started in our late 30s early 40s. I have low sperm count, so getting pregnant would be hard but not impossible. We managed to get pregnant and gave birth to wonderful baby girl. After a few months I noticed my daughter has absolutely zero features from me. We joked that she took all her features from her mother and she's her little clone. For reference, I'm Latino with dark features and my wife is white with blue eyes. Our baby is paler than she is with green eyes. I got a little suspicious when I noticed a cleft chin, which doesn't run in either of our families. The doubt just kept growing, so I did a paternity test and turns out I'm not her father. I have no idea or even a suspicion of who it could be and have no interest in finding out. I love this little girl. She's everything I hoped and dreamed of in a child. I don't care how she got here. I just care that she's in my life. She'll call me Dad, I'll be there every step of the way, I'll walk her down the aisle. I'm not telling anyone I'm not her bio dad. If my wife ever decides to come clean, I won't ask any questions. I have everything that I need in my life right now and I plan on keeping it that way. Edit. I've read through most of the replies here. Honestly wasn't expecting any replies, so I'll answer some more of the common questions I've seen. No chance it's not hers. I was in the room during the C-section and after they handed her to me she never left my sight. I also had the fear they would somehow switch the baby, so whenever a nurse needed to take her for tests I would accompany. 100% this is the same kid that came out of her. After reading some replies I agree that the priority should be finding out any genetic history she might be subject to. So I'll be bringing things up with my wife and let whatever the fallout is happen. Since my name is on the birth certificate, I assumed responsibility for the child regardless of if she is mine or not. Had no doubts when she was born. I told my kids about my wife's infidelity. Me, 27M, and my wife, 27F, have known each other since high school. We were always friends, but didn't show any interest in each other until senior year, where she asked me to prom. I accepted her invitation and we've been together ever since. We got married in 2015 at age 19, and have 2 daughters, who are 7 and 5. About a month ago, I found some texts on my wife's phone, where she had been flirting with one of her female co-workers that I knew pretty well. We had met at work functions from time to time. They sent each other explicit pictures and messages, and while I found no evidence of a meetup between them, it was heavily implied that they had done stuff together in the past. The messages started about a year ago, so she's been cheating on me for over a year now. I sent screenshots of the conversation to my phone, and confronted her when she got out of the shower and she broke down sobbing, saying she never meant to hurt me. I was seeing red at this point and decided to leave before I did something drastic. She texted me non-stop begging me to come home and talk, but I wasn't having any of it, so I stayed at my younger brother's, 24M, place for the night. In the morning I woke up to hundreds of texts and voicemails from my wife, begging to come home. Eventually I did come home, but only because she had to work, and there was no one else to watch my daughters. I told her to be gone by the time I got there, as I didn't want to speak to her, and when I got home, I sat my daughters down and told them that I was going to be divorcing their mother. They didn't understand what that was, so I had to explain it to them, and my heart shattered while I was telling them. My 5-year-old started crying, and my 7-year-old started begging me not to, and started asking me why I was doing this. So I showed them the pictures I took, excluding the ones with pictures, and they started crying even harder. I assured them that their mommy still loves them, but she hurt me very badly, and I can't be with her anymore. I also told them that I would still see them, and I would do everything I could to make sure of that. I texted my wife, telling her I wanted a divorce, and she needs to pack her things when she gets home. She fought it at first and begged me not to kick her out, but I wasn't in the mood for her bullshit. When she got home, my kids started crying and asking her why she did what she did, and she started screaming at me, telling me that I had no right to tell our kids, and that this matter was between us. I told her that since we're getting a divorce, they deserve to know why. She left in a hurry and took the kids with her. As far as I know, she's at her parents' house. My lawyer is in the process of getting the divorce paperwork in order, and I'm ready to fight for the right to see my kids. But they hate my wife right now, and refuse to speak to her. My mom is an influencer and I hate her for it. My mom, F45, has become a Facebook influencer. I, F16, used to not care when she took photos, but it's gotten crazy. Everything she does is now posted or live streamed online. Even if somewhere says don't photograph or film, she'd find a way to film it. It was annoying at first, but now it's downright frustrating, especially since 3 months ago when she got really into it. I also completely understand the irony of me posting this on Reddit, but I just need someone to hear me out. I declined my 16th birthday party, so she threw a giant party claiming it was for her anniversary, my brother's graduation, and my birthday. There were 150 guests, and between my dad, my brother and myself we only covered 30 of them. I don't even know how much of that party she wasn't on her screen for, since she was constantly filming and uploading it, along with a lot of her friends. I really wanted to perform there. I practiced for months, but the idea of her filming and uploading it made me so nervous I backed down. I don't like being photographed or filmed. Even as a kid I didn't. Another time we went on vacation and every second it was filmed. When we got to a hotel we weren't allowed in until she recorded the room, even if we just drove for 8 hours and wanted to sleep. She'd take her time in areas she could photograph even if it was a rock, actual thing. But when my dad and brother tried to enjoy a non-aesthetic place, I felt rushed, like she wanted to just go. If we got food she didn't let us eat or move the food until photos and videos were taken, even having us pose with the food or announce what it is. That one annoyed me. One time we traveled by car and it was over 10 hours since we ate. When we got a chance to eat dinner she took my food before I got a chance and was recording it saying things like "ooh, how delicious," and I was so tired and hungry I just gave up and started tearing up. On the vacation when we went on a boat but she was live streaming, she was calling out followers, thanking them and saying how much she loved them all. The boat was going to check out Alcatraz and I thought it was so disrespectful, especially because it was a public area and not everyone wants to be filmed, and also the history of the island makes me feel that it needs to be respected and not treated as a background to a video. One thing that made me want to write this post was because I was trying to get a drink out of the soda machine. She had me pour out the ice from the cup so she could record me doing it for a shot. I have a certain ice to soda ratio I like and it was perfect the first time. After that I didn't get it correct and it was just a damper on an already not so great day. After that she held up my soda and was showing it off to the camera and I had to just wait until she was done. Another thing is I've started to envy her followers. She gives them so much more attention than me. She goes off on my dad about how much closer I am with him than her, but I asked to watch a movie with her and she declines. Her reasoning is always that she has a live stream later she's hosting, or a video to film, or her followers are live. She's turned me down so many times I stopped even trying to hang out with her, since if I do get her around she's on her phone. One time I asked for her opinion and she snapped that she was tired from her job, and that she needed time to post. She live streams so much that I sometimes have to skip meals because she can't have the background noise, and she live streams in the middle of the kitchen. She's live streams for hours and if she had any issue with the internet she makes everyone power down their devices so she can get a better connection. The most attention she's given me recently was recorded. I was in a dance class and the only time she looked at me was when she was recording what I was doing. The instructor praised me to them for my work multiple times and she didn't even notice. I checked and she was watching a live stream. I feel like I'm going crazy. When she posts about me I feel exposed, like I have no control. My dad keeps saying she views the world through lens and I have no clue if this is how parents are nowadays, but it's terrible. I'm so sorry if anyone else has to grow up like this. Son's first and last day of daycare. I've been sobbing for over an hour and feel like the worst possible mom. Today was my son's, 13 months, first day at daycare. I'd taken him school clothes shopping at a second-hand store, got him a new backpack, and equipped his diapers with intact "don't retract" stickers since I had heard horror stories about daycares and uncut babies. Look up Your Whole Baby if you didn't know this for more explanations. On top of being worried about all that, I was worried about the fact that I've been exclusively breastfeeding his whole life. He hates bottles and sippy cups, but does okay with straws. Overall, I wasn't sure how he would adjust and was ready to make today a short day at daycare so we could get him acclimated. I bought a watch that allows for GPS tracking and one-way listening and put it in a button pocket on his pants. I wanted him to have this since the daycare doesn't have any kind of internal recording and I'm generally just untrusting of adults alone with my son, probably due to a decade of working in a mental health clinic and hearing the worst horror stories of abuse you can imagine. We dropped him off and snuck out the door before he could see us and I dialed into the watch to see how he was adjusting. He was sobbing like I've never heard before. I could hear him making himself sick from sobbing. I knew there would be an adjustment period, so I waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Still sobbing. More hysterically than ever. Nobody is comforting him. When we hit the 30-minute mark and finally somebody picked him up while saying "yeah, I had a rough weekend," to other employee, I was so sick. It's all in my chest. Her voice was barely there, as if she was still actively sick. This is when I started to lose it. On top of not comforting him at all for a full 30 minutes, now the person that finally picks him up is sick? Then she very quickly found the watch in his pocket, not sure why she was searching his pockets, and brought it to the director who said to put it in his bag. I'd heard enough. I went over with my husband and had him go inside to get our son. He had been there 40 or 45 minutes by this point. My husband said, when he went in, that they were like, "oh, so soon." But he was doing great. And then mentioned he couldn't have the tracker and they put it in his bag. He was still crying when my husband got him, and he's been clinging to me ever since. I emailed the director already asking to unenroll him. I thought I was ready for him to go to daycare, but not if this is how it is going to be. I have no way to make sure my son isn't being harmed throughout the day, and got a taste of him being completely ignored for over 30 minutes. I know daycares have a lot of kids and attachment issues are to be expected, but surely this is below average treatment, right? I've just told my wife, who scares me, I want a divorce. 40M, just told my wife, 43F, this week that I want a divorce and I am buzzing with pride and happiness. We've been together 12 years and have 2 small boys, 6 and 2. When we met, all went well, we had jobs in the same industry, we traveled a lot. But very quickly, it became clear that my wife doesn't have any tolerance or even understanding for things that are not done the way she would do them. She idealizes her childhood and is very close to her mother and sister. Admittedly, she grew up in a very close large family and had a pretty great childhood. But as an adult, this has morphed into a fanaticism with things being done normally. To her, normally means the way she would do them or how her mother did them. Ironically, her mom is super chill and not at all like that. Over the years, this annoyed me, but it became way worse once our children were born. Everything had to be as she wanted in the house. I couldn't choose how to dress the kids because I didn't pick the right blend of colors. If I put on a diaper, it was redone. If I packed lunch and snacks for school, she would change the snacks to the ones she wanted. That was still the short end of the wedge. The major issue is I wake up early in the morning, 5:30 a.m., I always have and I love it. I also do fine at night on little sleep, whereas my wife is a demon if she doesn't get 8 hours. That means that I take care of 99% of kids waking up at night. I do 99% of morning prep, lunch boxes, breakfast, getting dressed, for which she chews the clothes the night before. I always take the kids to school. Another reason I do this early is that, if I do it when she's awake, I get criticized for using the wrong spoon to serve the food, or using the wrong milk for oatmeal, or not cleaning up every tiny spill the second it happens, or using the wrong dish rag, etc. Every criticism is exasperated and aggressive. She's right on some of them, but it's a constant barrage. I tune her out. I've even been told going to the bathroom is a problem because they feel me being awake. The issue is that our oldest loves to wake up early to be with me. It's a really cool time for us. We have breakfast, we watch the news, we talk about nerdy shit. But she won't have it. She insists he has to stay in bed until 6:30. I wouldn't mind, but it's torture for the kid. He hates it. He cries and moans and whines and just wants to be up and about. I am exactly the same. Now that our second is doing the same, she has begun blowing up at me aggressively. The other day, she woke up at 6 and accused me of just putting them in front of the TV in the morning and that her eldest is short because he doesn't sleep enough. They get 1 hour of TV during holidays and I come up with the vast majority of outing ideas. He's quite short for his age group but nothing out of the ordinary. And I finally snapped. As I was getting yelled at again, in front of both my kids, I just said enough. I calmly said I wanted a divorce and that she would never speak to me like that again. We are away from home until next week, but I already contacted a lawyer. I am so happy. It will suck in the short term and then be such a relief. I can't wait to have my own place and the kids on my own half the time.